Often, when wild animals are wounded, all they need is a quiet corner with food and water, and things will sort themselves out. They don't need much else. I'm really looking forward to seeing him go. He's been ready to go for 2 or 3 weeks. It's never nice to put them to sleep. The stress and the transport. But after that, he'll have his peace. He looked like a free wolf, and our wolves are in an enclosure. The look in his eyes wasn't the same. He knew what freedom was. Wolves aren't meant to be in cages. He's gone. Hey, honey. How are you today? You don't look in a good mood.
Nathalie Pageau knows how to handle animals. Surrounded by the Abitibi wilderness, she developed a close relationship with them since childhood. Taking care of abandoned or wounded wild animals, nursing them back to health, then releasing them is a lifestyle that happened naturally. Hardly surprising, as the Pageaus have always been this way.
Gently. Being with animals is how I like it. I think it's in my blood. Dad was born with this, and I think I was too. Gently here.
One might say she's a chip off the old block. So much do Nathalie and Michel share this closeness to wild animals. Nathalie inherited her passion for animals from her father, Michel Pageau, the one they call the man who speaks with wolves. This former trapper learned his craft at the School of Nature and has devoted his whole life to the animals of the boreal forest.
When Dad made the refuge, he made it in his home. It was his life. It was in his yard. He had a special relationship with each animal. He went into each enclosure. Hey, Joe. What are you up to, eh? He must be around 22. We've had Joseph a long time, since the refuge began.
Nathalie has always lived surrounded by wild animals. Often, the Pageaus took in baby orphans who required constant attention into the family home. Living with these babies every day created very strong bonds in Nathalie.
When I was young, maybe in the first year, my teacher asked me to do a drawing of a mother and her babies. And I did a mother with her bear cubs. The teacher was quite traumatized because I hadn't drawn my father, mother and sister. I'd drawn the bears.
Are you warming up some milk?
No, they had a drink at 7 o'clock. They're not supposed to drink just yet.
Oh, look.
I know they're needy.
Look.
They are needy.
The first time we had a mink, the gamekeeper arrived holding him. He came to give him to me, and I held out my hands like that, and she put her hands over mine, and she caught him.
In this house, we've had beavers, foxes, muskrats, marmots, skunks, mink, and similar less dangerous things. That hurts, you're biting too hard. He's a baby coyote called Wiley. It's the first time I've had a baby that'll grow big. You only keep baby bear cubs in the house for 1, 2, or 3 days, long enough for them to get back on their feet. Then when they're better, you get rid of them because it's no picnic.
During the summer, around 20 employees help accomplish the various chores needed for the animal care and to keep the place running. But for some tasks, Michel is still indispensable.
Hi. Is it your turn today? These are eagle owls, and the one at the back's beak is too long. So I have to catch him in a net and take him to Dad, who'll trim his beak. Okay, that's it. Look at that beak. It's because he doesn't use it as much in captivity as when he's free. I listen to whatever Dad tells me about animals. Some things I learn myself, but Dad learned differently. But it still works.
Now he's handsome. As good as new.
Let's turn you over. Stay still, my darling. See how good looking he is. You learn with every animal. You learn. There's an exchange, it's different. With each species, and even within species, you have differences in character from one animal to the next. You have differences in behavior that you must recognize and learn to live with. You know, with us, from one human to the next, someone who takes the trouble finds a lot of things in people's eyes. Well, animals are the same. They have their character, the way they are, and you can establish a lot via the eyes. When it's springtime and the babies arrive, I adore that. I'm really happy. That's when it all becomes fun, when the little babies come. Often people think that the babies are abandoned, but wild animals don't abandon their young. That's one thing we could learn from animals in general. Oh, he's so small. Yes.
The arrival of this baby bear isn't a rare event. Last summer, the refuge had to take in 34 bear cubs who had lost their mothers. The effect of frost on flowers and wild berries could be one of the causes. The animals can't find enough to eat in the forest, so they come closer to the dwellings and leave themselves open to all kinds of accidents.
We usually keep the bear cubs for a full year, so they spend their first winter with us. They hibernate with us, and we release them after July the 1st. That's how it happens most of the time. He might stay with us because Joe's getting on in years, I hate to say it, but there are animals we need to keep if we're to continue with our mission.
Isn't he handsome? Yeah. Shall we take him into the house and keep him? He's a lovely baby.
Nathalie is more and more involved in the daily tasks. She tends to the well-being of the furred and feathered patients along with Felix, who looks after the financing and development. A lot of work in the background, in fact.
We'll put up a big fence with the bear enclosure inside that fence.
But here, everyone feels concerned by another mission: to raise public awareness of the need to protect and love animals. That is the visible part of the Pageaus' work. Each year, almost 20,000 people visit the patients in both summer and winter. This activity contributes largely to the finances, along with the grants and gifts of food from certain local merchants.
Of all the animals we have, we do get a lot of gifts. We have no choice. We need these gifts to get by. The meat, fruit, vegetables, groceries and everything. Just the food and everything it entails, keeping the refuge going, costs around $100,000 a year.
It starts becoming irritating at this age. Even last year, it was hard work, and then they were being lovable. But now they're starting to get aggressive, more irritated at being here. We'll release them maybe today or tomorrow. We do like releasing them because they're starting to get unhappy in a little cage like that.
Whatever the time of year, the priority is to release animals into the wild when they're better. It's the Pageau spirit that lives on after more than 20 years.
Off you go. Run along home. She'll be fine here. It's a nice place.
At the Pageau home, the phone rings at any time of the day or night. Often, ordinary people call because they found an abandoned or injured animal. Here, they never refuse an animal in distress.
No, he's a tiny thing. Oh, my little love. Isn't he lovely?
You still have the milk recipe for baby mink?
Some animals can't be returned to the wild because they're too badly injured or because they've become too accustomed to humans. They then become residents for life. To keep or to release is a dilemma Nathalie often has to face.
It's an everyday question. Every time that I feed them, that I care for the animals. I'm always wondering whether things are good or not good. Whether this animal should be gone or whether it should be dead even. That might sometimes be the case. And it's not easy.
Today is a bear release day. We're going to free 9 of them. We put the bears to sleep, tag them, take their pulse, and check their breathing to make sure everything's in order, then release them with their tag number. That's perfect. 38.4. The principle of tagging becomes a vital tool for us, because if we realize that we're releasing bears that return to see people, we change our methods, we work on it. But personally, since I've been with Michel, we must have taken in and released 100 bears, and we've never had one that's gone off to see the world return spontaneously.
Off you go, son. Oh, boy. I like it when they go off, and they don't come to see us. Sometimes it tugs on the heartstrings when they come back and wail at us.
Over time, some animals have marked the life of the Pageau. The best example is the wolf Che, who has been part of the family for 15 years. This old pack leader is now sick and ailing, and sooner or later will give up his place. Not even the animals of the refuge can escape the immutable laws of nature.
Poor Che. You know what he reminds me of? The old lions in the desert. He has the same gestures. He lies down and watches. But he's not an old lion. He's an old wolf.
Michel cares deeply about the fate of Che, especially as the vagaries of life have both facing their own ordeals at the moment. Michel is slowly recovering after major heart surgery. His stay in the hospital came as an unexpected shock to him.
Dad realized he felt like his animals when he was there. He told me weeping. It was pretty intense. He said, "I know what it's like to be put in a cage. I understand now."
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. I didn't realize how big. I'm usually tough, you know? Even the doctor told me I was. He wanted to come and stay in the north because the northern men were tough.
Things are okay now. Things are slowly getting better. But there were a couple of days when I found it hard to work. You want some, don't you?
All of them were missing me, I think. Felix gave us a big hand, and Nathalie. If they hadn't been here, it couldn't have worked. And it all worked out, as if it had been timed.
And you need to fetch about a foot of soil with hay on top. Then put it in a cage.
Okay.
Okay? So I can bring in my boy. I don't feel like I'm taking up the torch or taking my dad's place, because nobody could fill my dad's place. It's impossible. He learnt in another time, he often says. It was another time, another age, another life. He did what he had to do. I don't expect to do what he did. I don't even want to try. They cry for two reasons. Either they're hungry or they're cold.
I'm happy. I'm proud that my daughter is my daughter, a Pageau, and that's the way to stay.
Are you hungry, my little rats? Just little and ugly. Let's put on a layer.
Sometimes she can be too friendly and lack a little caution.
Obviously, she'll get bitten now and again. That's part of learning the job. She was bitten recently by a bear cub. It was her fault. It's up to her not to get in their face. Bears are bears. They bite.
Nathalie is inheriting know-how that is priceless. All these years of learning have allowed her to develop a moral conscience towards animals.
That's something I tell them. Your job at the refuge is to sow the seed. To sow the seed in people's hearts. Sow the seed of respect. Sow the seed of tolerance, of understanding. Sow it and life will do the rest. It would serve no purpose if I learned what I learn, yet wasn't able to pass it on to others. I wouldn't feel honest with the animals who come and give their lives here, because some of them do. Some spend their life in a cage. Why would they spend their life in a cage if it weren't for us to learn and then tell people how to live better with the environment? Bye, big boy.
Times change, but needs stay the same. Taking care of animals, taking them in, releasing them, that's the job they do day after day, week after week. For Nathalie Pageau, it's central to her path. A path that she treads in the footsteps of the man who speaks with wolves.
Chichi, yeah. Chichi, hey.
He'll have had a good life. It's not been hard for him. He often played with me in the snow. He was the boss for a long time. It's been a real family.
As humans, we disturb a lot of other life forms around us. So the little I can do is to try to redress the balance. And that's my reason for living. That's why I'm here, because I believe, and to me, that's important.